think of yourself as actually dead? Lying in a box with a lid on it. Nor do I really. Silly to be depressed by it. I mean, one thinks of it like being alive in a box. One keeps forgetting to take into account the fact that one is dead. Which should make a difference, shouldn't it? I mean, you'd never know you were in a box, would you? It would be just like being asleep in a box. Not that I'd like to sleep in a box, mind you. Not without any air. You'd wake up dead for a start, and then where would you be? Apart from inside a box. That's the bit I don't like, frankly. That's why I don't think of it. Because you'd be helpless, wouldn't you? Stuffed in a box like that. I mean, you'd be in there forever. Even taking into account the fact that you're dead, it isn't a pleasant thought. Especially if you're dead. Really ask yourself, if I asked you straight off, I'm going to stuff you in this box, now would you rather be alive or dead? And naturally, you'd prefer to be alive. Life in a box is better than no life. At all. I expect. You'd have a chance, at least. You could lie there thinking, well, at least I'm not dead. In a minute, someone's going to bang on the lid and tell me to come out. Hey, you, what's your name? Come out of there. Welcome to the Future Stages. I'm Brendan Bradley, and that was a piece from Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. In the play, Rosencrantz is backstage, waiting in the wings, trying to piece together what's happening on stage without him. But nobody is backstage these days, as Broadway has gone dark until May of next year at the earliest, and small theaters around the world are closing their doors or struggling in endless fundraiser mode. So this morning, I thought we might look at Rosencrantz's speech to determine whether life in a box really is better than no life at all, as we unpack tools from my career before, during, and I hope after COVID-19. Rosencrantz begins the speech with a question: do you ever think of yourself as actually dead, lying in a box with the lid on it? Tom Stoppard is inviting us to think the unthinkable, our own mortality. This is a topic we've all become far too familiar with over the last year. We've all been forced to think the unthinkable. The health and safety of ourselves, our family, our community, the sudden loss of entire industries and livelihoods. And now here we are today, in a box, talking about the future of storytelling. I've been performing to boxes for a decade now, with over 50 million views on YouTube. I've gotten very comfortable shouting down the barrel of a camera, framing for Head and Shoulders, lighting myself from the front and the back to remove that green screen behind me and put myself onto a digital stage. Recently, I've even begun exploring Snapchat filters to be able to give myself virtual makeup and costume. Wait for it. You can do it, robots. Excellent. But mortality is scary for everyone, even Rosencrantz. Nor do I really. Silly to be depressed by it. No one wants to think about this stuff, so let's just find the next gimmick and ignore it. And for the first few months of quarantine, this is exactly what the theater community did. We literally put theater in boxes. And of all the boxes, it's not even a film platform. It's a video chat. Where are their legs? The scenery, the stage picture. Isn't theater supposed to be about escapism, transporting the audience outside of their daily lives? Then why did we put theater in the one place where everyone has to do everything all the time now? Who wants to get off of a 4-hour work call, FaceTime with grandma, and then go watch Zoom Chekhov? Nobody could have seen this coming. Except Tom freaking Stoppard. The next line of the speech, I mean, one thinks of it like being alive in a box. One keeps forgetting to take into account the fact that one is dead, which should make a difference, shouldn't it? Rosencrantz points out that we can only think about death in comparison to being alive. We could only think about theater in virtual mediums based on what we'd already seen and experienced. But there is so much we haven't experienced. A few years ago, I approached my alma mater, New York University, about a lab to combine emerging technologies and live performance. In the last 3 years, our students have created a motion capture piece, a 360 audio experience, and 2 live performances inside virtual reality. During the quarantine, I've been looking at every possible box, from TikTok to Twitch, to preserve live storytelling. I mean, you'd never know you were in a box, would you? For $25 and some YouTube tutorials, I can transport myself anywhere and control the entire show with the touch of a button. How can we say that live performance is dead when the average professional streamer on Twitch makes over $30,000 a year based solely on a live interaction with a synchronous audience? So I downloaded OBS, or Open Broadcaster software, which allows me here on the left to create a variety of scenes or theatrical cues. Inside of each scene is a variety of sources, any media that I want to combine or mux together: images, video, audio, transitions, filters, effects. I can mix my audio here in the center, add transitions, and then I can stream or record it back out anywhere in the world. Now, this could be a lot better. I mean, the limitation here is me. With no collaborators, I just threw a bunch of stuff together and streamed it back out. But imagine working with a virtual scenic designer, or a lighting designer to take me beyond a cheap LED ring light, or a stage manager to help organize and run the show so that I can focus on my performance instead of my phone. The nightmare of lost jobs and uncertainty could instead become a dream of limitless collaboration while keeping everyone safe and distant. We could all sleep better at night. Uh-oh. There's that S word. It would be just like you were asleep in a box. Oh, not that I'd like to sleep in a box, mind you. Not without any air. You'd wake up dead for a start, and then where would you be? Apart from inside a box. Let's look at that one more time. We begin with virtual scenery provided to me by an actual stage designer. And now a stinger transition is going to cover me with an animated object so that we can cut to a 3D projection from a lighting designer. Here we go, lovely. We go on a little bit of a ride while I safely get myself down to the floor using stage combat, and then stand myself up like a dance in timing with the backdrop to create an illusion like a magician, a trick of the eye. It is the same stagecraft we've been doing for generations, just using new virtual tools. Future theater for future audiences. And the future is very, very exciting. The Oculus game company Tender Claws hosted actors inside of the Underpresents during quarantine to stage virtual reality productions. The techno-dramatists have created their own augmented reality app to change the appearance and the backdrops of their actors using their smartphones. Double Eye Productions turned their audience into an immersive Greek chorus at this year's Venice Film Festival. The Monarchs have been performing 45-minute dance pieces inside of Second Life. Shattered Spaces used WebRTC to create their own video conferencing platform with their own customized interactions for the audience. The Weeknd performed live inside of TikTok to 2 million viewers. And the DJ Marshmello hosted a virtual concert inside of the video game Fortnite to 10.7 million concurrent viewers. This shows us how technological partnerships can scale to meet the audience and the artist wherever they are in the world. And right now, the world needs live entertainment to survive this tragic time. As we gathered this morning, our pandemic has robbed us of over 1 million lives. These moments in history are not easy for anyone. I don't have all the answers. Neither does Tom Stoppard. Neither does our friend Rosencrantz. That's the bit I don't like, frankly. That's why I don't think of it. Because you'd be helpless, wouldn't you? Stuffed in a box like that, I mean, you'd be in there forever. Even taking into account the fact that you're dead, it isn't a pleasant thought, especially if you're dead. We come to the part of the hero's journey known as the dark night of the soul. All hope is lost, and we are struggling just to survive one more day. On my last project, the director quit. We ran out of money, and I had to teach myself 3D animation to finish the story. We used an old Xbox Kinect, which has a depth camera for tracking players' movements and gestures. Now, with a little bit of fuss, you can actually hack this camera to see skeletal data and map it onto a 3D avatar. It is not the best motion capture in the world, but it costs practically nothing, and it's fun to play with. The Kinect also captures what is called volumetric video, which is a 3D interpretation of what the depth camera sees. So even though the camera is not moving, I can change the angle, and the computer will try to extrapolate what the data points would look like from that destination. So my past failures have opened up a new dimension of my future work. Really ask yourself, If I asked you straight off, I'm going to stuff you in this box, now would you rather be alive or dead? We've returned to the original question. From Tom Stoppard, from Rosencrantz, from an actor with too many gadgets and far too much free time. If the whole world is going to be shoved into these crude boxes, do we want to be a part of it or not? I got sick on March 2nd. The next day I lost my voice completely and I spent weeks bedridden with severe skeletal pain and fatigue. And if there's something you should take away from this morning, it is how hard it is to get me to be still and silent. Immediately after my recovery, Broadway and Hollywood shut down. So I'm speaking to you today as a fellow human who has genuinely feared the end of his life and career. But these explorations in virtual storytelling have given me new life, a second sunrise. If I'm going to be stuck in a box, I choose to be alive. Naturally, you'd prefer to be alive. Life in a box is better than no life at all, I expect. You'd have a chance at least. You could lie there thinking, well, at least I'm not dead. Now, everything that we've looked at so far is on a 2D screen, but there's an entire 3D world of social virtual reality, or social VR. You might be familiar with platforms like Second Life or VR Chat that allow you to interact with anybody in the world represented as a virtual avatar. Mozilla has their own version of this called Hubs, but with a little bit of a twist. Hubs can be accessed on almost any device using the same URL. So, if you have a virtual reality headset, fantastic. Excellent. But if you don't, you can still access the experience on your computer web browser or on your phone. Hubs has a companion project called Spoke that allows you to become an architect of a 3D world. It took me about 5 minutes inside of Hubs and Spoke to realize what I wanted to do next. I wanted to create a virtual theater that anyone could use for free to start hosting live entertainment right now. And so, welcome to the future stages. A virtual reality theater-going experience that can be accessed on almost any device for free. You simply treat this like a website template, where you grab the template, put in your own show art and live stream link, create a room, and you're ready to host your event. So you send out your URL, people can click and drag with their mouse to look around the room. You can use your keyboard to walk around like in a video game, enter the lobby, into the theater. By holding down spacebar, you see a variety of interactions, like the emojis at the bottom, and then these little waypoints that allow you to actually sit in a chair. Now, even though this works pretty great on desktop, it really opens up when you're in a virtual reality headset. Hello. I'm flying around. So the first thing you'll notice, I can get in front of you, is that I have hands. I can go anywhere. I can be anything. I can summon any object. And my collaborators can manipulate and change the world around me based on discoveries I make in real time. We don't have to be alone in tiny boxes. We have each other. Stoppard's next lines are those of optimism, that if we can just hold on a little while longer, someone might come along to break us out of our isolation. In a minute, someone's going to bang on the lid and tell me to come out. I don't know what the future of theater will be, but I know there will be a future, and we will find it together. The fact is, there are no perfect solutions right now, so that means there's no wrong answers. But these are just tools. Nothing replaces the human element, our connection to each other. As we come to the end of the speech, I turn to you for your thoughts and ideas and suggestions about the many boxes we've opened and closed in our brief time together. I hope that I see you inside the future stages, so that I can turn to you and shout, "Hey, you, what's your name? Come out of there."